nhớ rồi trong nhà gì cái năng trạng hôm nay giờ lúc y liền đâu lúc tỷ xa xong ốp hành của bé của giờ bỏ đi va sự kiện the Hmong Twin City News số sự lúc nào cũngจะเป็นเช่นลอนเดอร์มง Plaza Design Open House คนน้อยอยู่ระหว่างพงยืนยอดเขาสิงมินนิโซตานอนู่นน้อยอยู่ซิตี้เอาสิงพอแล้วก็ตัวเขียจอรู้ว่าเพียแต่แล้วตัวเขียจอได้แม่บอกนั่นเราลุ่มมง Plaza ยอดระหว่างพงยืนเดียวแล้วบ้าโตจงดีจ่าเลยคนเจ้าเราเลยตัวเขียเราจะเป็นสิงใช่ไหมเดียวถอดเรื่องบ้าโตเลยนั่นเลยจะเป็นสิงมงเชื่อเขาสาเดียวนี่ยมมุนซีดีจ่านี่ยมว่าจะป้อเจจอเลยจ่านี่ยมว่าเตะเก่งเตะก็ต้องจะมุ่งจอลิจานคนนั้นจะขอเลยตัวเขียนรูปจอเนี่ยจะจีสุดเลยกูจะเป็นคำใช้ขอเก๋ว่าสิงห์พครับสิริตัวเขียนรูปตาต่อการเนี่ยกูจอเนี่ยยังไม่ใช่ไทยยังเฮยนิวยอร์กเขียนมันจีโตเป็นจอเนี่ยจะจีให้จอรูปผู้ยืให้จอรูปมงปลาซานอกหัตถ์ยังรู้จักกูสับทอกันเนี่ยว่าตัวตรงใช้เนี่ยแต่ยังป้องกันจังแต่ยังรู้จัก
nhớ rằng là bây giờ xa nhà nữaกูnhớ cho họ Minnesota nó lúc nào của tôi thì sẽ tôi chat của ở kho là lụa của khí tàu có thể chỉ PCA chỉ bên mua một chút trong lợi,但是của khí luôn tàu ở sông bé sông đó lợi, chỉ giờ lưu từ và mua tết sinh chế có xí kho và nó là của khu tàu đồ cũ này, xa tàu bé ở chỉ xa chỗ ở chỉ tàu, còn nó mà nhớ được tàu broken part có thể ở giờ có lo giờ có của sẽ tôi chat tàu bé nhiệt tình mong sẽ đâu giờ của khi tới lúc chế group home assistant living facility thế để lúc nào giờ nửa ba một chỗ cho tin rằng mua mỏ nửa ba chỉ tuần tu king mika lo mika nó chỉ là tiền disability nè chỉว่าเขาnói chỉ riêng buổi riêng mua nâng sai số này tu này nâng của plus mong liao chỉ nên là nhỏ của lúc chế chỉ của ba này li đã đề lô ô tô mỏ nên nọ lô một chỗ đó nên nọ lô số này để cần giờ cho nên mù này để appointment đó nên để thăm mỏ lô chỉ của thâu này mù nè muốn chỉ này cho social worker lô muốn chỉ này cho thăm mỏ lô muốn chỉ luôn từ là của những thâu tuy sĩ insurance bế trái nó chỉ New York carry waiver là cả state là thế có mua MA có mua elderly waiver chỉ cho nó cho bế trái tao nó nếu không mua private pay thì sẽ private pay mà kỳ hành cho anh new cho age hoặc trái tao nó chỉ cho G một số nè có chúng mua mỏ để mi tụi nhiều tụ chỉ tao cao rồi nó chỉ là thế là cả các là nhau của lúc trẻ của tụ lúc có thế chỉ hai Minnesota nó xưa thông bờ tây chờ nó là như từ mua cho tin rằng là tụ chỉ tàu nó là cho là nhau nó là riêng tàu tuy xí thế nào ở trong đó là cái xa ya number giờ xa cho bé ở chỉ xa cho ở chỉ trong ở cho.
Welcome everyone. We'll get started here. My name is Brett Husong. I'm a landscape architect with the City of St. Paul Parks and Recreation, and I am the project manager on the wonderful Minnesota-China Friendship Garden Society, and we're here today to talk about the Hmong Plaza.
Nữ sai nhớ trong donation được trong share donation cùng tôi trong nước nó bây giờ Brett Husong cái nữ sai nhớ trong donation được xí thà cho trong cái Minnesota Parks Recreation được cái Friendship Garden nước nó ở chỗ.
Thank you for joining us. I want to acknowledge our partners with the city. That's the Minnesota-China Friendship Garden Society. And I'd like to call out one of the founders, Linda Mealy Lohman. And I'd also like to call on Chen Zhou, who is the vice president. Thank you both. You've been instrumental in helping us with this partnership and working through the first phase of the project.
Okay. Cái auto cái của sao cho có lo đâu hai cái đó này cái giờ Linda thế Chen Zhou how cho này cái này bộ tiền đồng cái trong này tình cái họ từ ô được cái Minnesota Friendship Garden ô cho này.
Thank you both.
Ô cho này
And next I'd like to bring up the council member, Neng Xiong. She has also been very helpful in with the outreach, promoting this wonderful project, and she can come up and say a few words. Council member.
Cái của sao cái Neng Xiong từ council member là hai ấp lo luôn nữ ba bé tới công ty đó bé ba bé ô cái project nó ô cho nữa.
Thank you. Well, first off, I would like to bring up Jay Lohr, my legislative aide, to come and join me too. This is Jay Lor, my legislative aide in the office, and many of you will see her. She is somebody who has always been at the front lines of our community and doing really meaningful work, and she just recently joined my office from the governor's office, so we are so lucky to have her. And nhớ trong đây chị cú giờ Neng Xiong cú giờ từ city council member nhớ đầu sa East Side St. Paul nơi nó Hmong village họ nhỏ thia belu Minnesota China Friendship Garden họ nhỏ thia thì on đây nó cú sa hay ở chỗ đầu bây giờ trong cho nó cho trong từ cho họ nhỏ họ lúc tới chị nó cho chị nhỏ họ nó thia đầu cho nhớ thấy chị nhỏ tới bắt tới chị trong xe chấp là hay tiền nó ní sẽ được họ tổ cộng với vì cho họ nó với họ thọ tới hay tiền lưu Hmong Plaza nhớ cho belu Minnesota China Friendship Garden họ trong này chả nữa thì nó với họ có hữu sẽ đượcตัวเครียดไปให้เตียเลยจะเกิดสาตรงแต่ได้ตัวว่าไปเขาเต้นจะรูปน้องพาสันนี่เขาตรงนี้จ่าเทียมั่วได้ชีเลยเขาเนี่ยได้ชีเขาเลยสักไปหลงเจลุชีเขาเนาะยอดชีเขาไปก็หเลยใช่เลยเครียดไปก็ไปเขาเราว่าเจ้าว่าตัวเขามองพาสันเนาะจีก็เจ้าใช่เลยเขาลุชีแต่ย่อยเขาว่าเลยเขามั่วกี่ตรงเชียตัวเทียSo I am the council member in the east side of St. Paul here in St. Paul Ward 6. It's such an honor to be able to be here to join you all for the unveiling of our Hmong Plaza design and really to do meaningful community engagement, to get feedback from everybody about what they love about the design, what they want to see change, so that we can truly make it a project that is for and with the people and really centers what everyone is hoping to see at the Hmong Plaza. There are so many people for us to thank today. I first off want to thank Director Andy Rodriguez. He's the director of St. Paul Parks and Rec. I want to thank the amazing staff who has been leading this work and working with the community since day one. Especially want to say thanks to Brett Husong for leading so many meetings and being the person who is at the front lines working with our committee members since the very start. I want to give a special thank you to the amazing people who brought us to where we are today, not only in the Minnesota China Friendship Garden as a whole, but also with the design work of the Hmong Plaza. So that includes the many committee members and advisory board members who have been at the front lines of this, the community who really made a demand for projects like this to come to St. Paul, to have a place where they can come together, be one with their family, their community, have meaningful spaces that reflect their hopes, their dreams, their values, and also use it as a way to educate other people about their own culture, their own values, and their own community too. I also want to say a special thank you to the architects who really put together the beautiful design and really incorporated all the amazing feedback that they got from the public wide and far, because I want you to know that it isn't actually just folks locally here who gave input. We also heard from people out of state, people who are excited about this project, and all of that, all of those ideas were crafted and put together into a single design, which is really, really important work that architects do in everything that they work on. And so we're so grateful to have them, and they are local artists here in our community too, and to have them be a part of this project is even more meaningful. This project has truly come a long way, and the work is far from done, but I know that we have the right people in the room, the right people in our boards and committees to be able to bring this to the finish line. There are many leaders who were a part of this too. So in addition to all the folks that I mentioned earlier, we also had many amazing elected officials who championed this. Some of them are not in office anymore, but continue to be invested in this work and to follow up on it, along with many other committees and boards, just like the Met Council too. And so I want to, in addition to that, say thank you to them for championing this work too. As you all know, Phalen Lake remains a prize of the East Side, and with the addition of the pavilion, the Hmong Heritage Wall, the Western Archway, all the Artstone installations, the site dedications throughout the years, it's apparent that Phalen Lake has it hasn't just become a community treasure, but it's also a gathering place that has the power to harness intercultural communities and identities. Very rarely do we get to see very rarely do we get to be a part of discourse or see ourselves as part of the decision making. What I feel is so powerful about this project is that the community has been at the center of it all and has been decision makers in this work. When the inclusion of our cultural identities and public places and spaces begin to help us find value in our heritage instead of feeling ashamed of them. And when our narratives begin to shift so that we might become the authors, the artists, and architects of our own stories, we're not only rewriting history, we're taking back history and finding alternative ways to live our most authentic lives. And the Hmong Plaza joins a list of select memorials, statues, pillars, and more across the country that honors the history of marginalized communities who have been surviving war, surviving genocide, experienced diaspora, erasure, and more. It recognizes the friendships formed from having lived in tandem with other communities rather than focusing on the distinction of differences. And most importantly, it launches a unique healing experience that celebrates survival and how far we've come together as a community. What I am so excited about is that no matter how long it is from now, whether it's 50 years, 100 years, 500 years, this plaza will continue to be here as a place for people to come together, as a place for our young to remember the stories of the people who came before them, and also be a grounding for them to continue being the best versions of themselves and build upon the many accomplishments that we have today. Right now is such a special moment, and there are so many people who gather together to make it happen. So today is a celebration of the Hmong Plaza, but it is also a celebration of you. It is a celebration of community. And there is nothing more powerful than the actions of people coming together to make something amazing come into fruition. And so today is a day for all of you to really rejoice in that. And so I want to say congratulations, and I can't wait for the work ahead. We still have a lot to do, so let's go out there and win it. Thanks, everyone. I would just like to take a moment to share briefly about what I said in Hmong. And I one day no help you loop project no Hmong Plaza ni yo iya kong wa chusing do be chulin chadu do be haining Hmong chua haining yo ik ha chau wa be shire ha tua shi dao la wa they do event the watching kin do be yo ik ha chau wa yo lo na le to cha la le ha yo hai tia be Hmong yo linh ti tia ya tia le sa ke cha be Hmong lo ni yo ik ha chau wa le ha pi tao te yang de ke to hai tia bé cho lưu do đã chỉ bé tới dạo mong cho đua là do đã chỉ thiệt xong do khó và xuất sinh hình cho bé ấy mà nên cho trong hình do cho là chỉ tàu lưu mong Plaza non cho lưu Minnesota China Friendship Garden này chỉ cứ sai hay ở cho trong này selling to be lưu xuống de bé cho bé sinh bé cho nhiệt cho xí sẽ đây một cái kiến chơi một cái họ tiêu là sao cái nhà họ luôn trong nạp thử lời thế bỏ hay tiệt lời do nên chỉnh kinh lắmเขาnói chỉเขาว่าไปเฉลี่ยหันเฉยchỉรู้ว่าHmong Plazaนอที่ยอไปมั่วเยอะบีมั่วนี่ชลินสตูไปจริงมั่วนั่นเต้าอย่าอยู่ละจงที่เขาว่าเต้ากับจีเต้าคิดรู้Hmong Plazaนอแต่สิกูยิ่งจริงเต้าให้เดียไปอย่าว่าเต้าไอ้เท่ากับเฉลี่ยยิ่งมิ่งกงเตยโอเคสิจะจงเราชิดเฉยก็ไปเขายิ่งเต้าขนาดโอเคว่าจงเต้าอ่ะ Thanks so much. I'll hand it back to Brett and Elizabeth.
Thank you, Council Member. That is very well said. This has been a long process that is a combination of a lot of different cultures, of a lot of different community members, and a lot of dedication by our Design Advisory Committee.
其實我做到俾啲 council member 鬧事嗰咗啦，係嗰就攞到俾啲，就是就係是我做到呢時候，啲仲係咪邊每個鐘度落去講地 OK， 啲俾啲到我到個學片我個做到冇。
So my role as project manager, I want to update the community on what we have done, what has been our design process, and what are our next steps, and I'll try to explain some of the design to you specifically.
今日的估計估係到呢，就估就好嚟估一啲 project manager，估咪表面知道呢嘅背景，到呢嘅呢自備住嘅呢波，但係俾個 design process 中呢嘅俾啲到做到นู่น。
One thing to point out that we talk about during our meetings, Parks and Recreations does have a systems plan vision, and this is looking at all aspects of our system, including the community itself, regulatory, such as DNR and watershed. We're also looking at our funding, operations, and maintenance. So there are a lot of factors that go into designing and building a project like this.
cái có thể có sao biết rồi nên mà rồi qua mà những môn đồ ya rồi nên hay để biết chú sao để công ty là ok biết được sao rồi nu nó biết được ô tô có project để nó cái chỉ thà cho rồi nên cái nhiều chuyện thà nó có funding sư thì nó có regulatory đồ có DNR đồ rồi nên có công mày cho rồi nên là hai lý cái nữa biết chú kiểu thế cái có biết rồi mình chỉ đâu nè.
And the decision making process does start with the city of St. Paul, but we had to rely on the community, and we developed a design advisory committee, and that is made up of Ward 1 and 6, Hmong 18 clan representative, the Minnesota China Friendship Garden Board themselves, Phalen Planning District, arts and design professionals knowledgeable in the Hmong community, and also Youth and Parks and Recreation Commission.
Cái có thể biết tôi là mà rồi qua mà mỗi chúng từ chủ sở hữu công biết tôi ô tô có project để nó cái giờ tới đây bỏ ra có slide cái cũng mà biết mình chỉ đâu nên xử thì sử dụng qua mà giờอยู่sát cho mà cái sự tôi công ty đó word e to word đầu biết cái mong cổ gì sinh thế đó có biết cái Minnesota China Friendship Garden Society một biết cái representatives đó có DAC thế cái St. Paul Youth Commission Parks and Recreation cái nhưng một cái chỗ từ nên dùng qua tôi công ty dùng lại tới giờ cái chỉ sử ô tô có project để nó đâu.
And as part of the design advisory committee, we formed a smaller subcommittee that helped with the design specifically. So these are a lot of the design professionals. These are Hmong and Chinese artists, and we have a list of those, including a Hmong 18 clan representative that was on that decision-making body.
Chúng ta sẽ có sự là trong này ta bên mua ít cái design advisory bao cái subcommittee bị xử lý cái nên trong này ta tôi công ty ok giờ có bỏ nên bỏ tàu cái giờ bên số tàu chấm bê thế bên số tàu cái nên cái giờ này bỏ đâu chúng ta sẽ có cái gì sinh đâu cái mong sự thì sự đâu cái nên số tới cái nên mong rồi cái ở cái những nhà cái artist là ok cái bên số tàu chấm bê đâu nên bỏ thế nên sai tàu nên mà tự.
So this is an image showing the location of the garden if you are not familiar with it. It is located on the northwest side of Phalen around the channel. It's on the north side of the channel. And this is an image of the phasing. So we are in phase 2. It's everything that is shown in red. Phase 1 was completed. That is shown in black, which is the pavilion and the western gateway.
Giờ thì nên sai tôi đại đô nói cái cũng mới rồi giờ tới này chỉ bảo thì chỉ có là một bữa rồi bây giờ cái từ cái nhỏ về trong này từ nhỏ rồi bà đến là cóแต่ฉันเลยตัวตัว face อีตรงเลยก็ pavilion ตาเลยก็ยังแต่ก็ใช้ดูขอเลี้ยตรงจะการจะเลี้ยก็ยังก็ face ที่ออแต่ฉันไปแต่ถาจอ
So the project was first identified in 2017 as part of the master plan, and that is the point of the Friendship Garden and incorporating the Hmong Plaza into the master plan. Phase 1 was completed in 2018 to 2021, and now we are moving on to phase 2, which includes the community engagement and design of the Hmong Plaza and other phase 2 features. We will be moving into construction of the Hmong Plaza only later this spring.
Cái giờ tới đây bỏ rong này có适合特别找像安排过下个个要rong里特别个大的收，被个弄到我和个 master plan 中个 Hmong Plaza 中来还，像安排过下的个了他这中里还的我个多的，个像ไป到像安排过有像安排那个一比的个 phase 一中还个找到那晒到的，了我都个 pavilion 大了。cái ta xin nó có share ta xin nó cái trong này thì phải trong offer nên có order trong offer nên có bé giờ có face thì bé thả ra trong có bé yon đua có Hmong Plaza design thế bé có community engagement cái trong này thì bé sinh bé tôi ship thả ra trong này có plan bé yon order nên đây.
We have 3 funding sources. They're located one here. One is the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. This funding will help to design all of phase 2, including the Hmong Plaza. And then we have state bonding that will pay for the construction of the Hmong Plaza only. There is also some private funding that is being held by the Minnesota China Friendship Garden Society for other phase 2 features.
伊特别他这个日子叫上来的，莫背考上来背考共红上来把日子做个 project 的，那 OK。佢啲依個 Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund，佢嗰個要上嚟個人上嚟的，莫嘅注意啦，把背我莫個合片的咯，我個 project 的咯。佢啲我叫上嚟他就個 state banding，佢嗰個要上嚟的，佢日子的上嚟的路那莫不如背，佢嗰個要把背上嚟我哋路 building 的話。把我路車路碰到，亦嗰啲比如個 Minnesota China Friends Garden，佢嗰個種嘅寧有山度有個把每日即係嗱把到比佢嗰個冇太多嘅 private fund。
And one deadline that should be identified is the legacy funding expires in June of 2023. So that is for the design components of the Hmong Plaza and Phase 2.
佢嗰啲故事係咯，你嘛路做呢，路用1,000個比佢嗰個種個 legacy funding expires，但係個書個有大嘅嗰個有個啲實係嗰度呢。
This next image shows a bird's eye view of the Minnesota-China Friendship Garden, the extent or limits. What is highlighted here is showing all of the Phase 2 features and their location. The donor wall, the Hmong Plaza, chess table, the mountain stream, a moon gate, moon bridge, and moon viewing platform.
佢哋多來佢有啲呢擺佢上嚟，但冇到呢曬佢俾學校撇嘅俾有安人哋少，佢呢擺上嚟路 donor wall，就走到路 Hmong Plaza，走到路 chess table，佢上個 mountain stream，就對橋上嚟係到the moon bridge，佢呢擺上到個 moon gate 嘅個 moon viewing platform，你講呢咪曬？
So while we're only designing these Phase 2 features, the Hmong Plaza will be constructed later this year. Here are some images of the future features, and we'll look at more of these later in the presentation.
佢但係那麼考得俾我，但係那麼可能只有考學撇少，佢種嚟得俾做打造先，但是頭要在上面之中在 spring， 你要比我路 Hmong Plaza， 佢考得個 model 呢曬先，佢就要得有得俾做啥做得俾有打造，等得些你我真知。
So the Design Advisory Committee was very instrumental in developing the design. We were listening to the community, as Councilmember Yang said, and these are the items that came out of it. The first one is the Hmong Plaza should be located inside of the garden itself to promote friendship. We looked at other areas outside, but ultimately we placed it within the garden itself.
因為白頭俾先知，仲係特別叫就俾成俾到先塔些，並又有注意你家些，不麼就特別啥課，俾啥麼補，俾啥這種個阿邊麼作個對嘅，俾得自些特別有麼個 Hmong Plaza，作嘅種咧的路 pavilion， 種咧nhỏ嘅的路 garden， 我覺得塔這種咧比較麼都比較少，甚至講得我朋友，而特別的種咧係特別少，我比較圈子嘅阿的是特別的自些係特別有麼路 Hmong Plaza， 作嘅的路 garden 都係少的。
A second priority is that it should be open. The plaza should be open layout for multi-use and overflow space. So this is an image showing the multi-use on different access points of the plaza.
一個就俾塔就啲個就俾啥的出聲咪種嚟係全景度俾晒個種嚟係頭俾我哋蒙拍就咁麼跳肉個打咁麼跳有啲俾實施多種嚟係咗啥公路我一個 van 我住嚟個打啲麼跳到俾實嘅嗰個一個全景就俾塔就啲俾啥就就俾個片咯。
And another aspect is utilizing landform and terracing to reflect rice paddies. Here's a terrace. And also elephant foot patterns that you can see that are forming the retaining wall that creates the space itself of the plaza.
幾個就出聲就俾啥就俾頭俾木個注意啦，咪種嚟嘅個俾晒個種個打啲住打呢個種嚟嘅個有啲個保護摩到呢曬咗個 terrace 種嚟頭俾做我哋種咁我咁紅俾嚟個嘅呢保到啲咁種嚟嘅摩俾個人就俾出聲就俾咁蒙種嚟個 elephant foot 嚟斷超拍個對嚟個佢種嘅俾摩作嘅個呢保到俾保地嘅應有到俾人呢蒙。
And finally, to promote the friendship, the priority of balancing intimacy and harmony of a Chinese garden. Since this is located within the Friendship Garden, there are other design principles that we are trying to balance during the process.
ít có thể biết sự sinh được chuyện kia nó bây mà đọc khó trong này thì bây giờ ở Hmong Plaza nhỏ cái này trong này thì the friendship garden đó cái số này cái có thể biết sao thì chuyện kia cái biết chủ sao trong này thì cái ở trong này cái biết được sao cái công ty đó cái đó Hmong friendship garden thì có Chinese garden đó trong này cái ok.
One last thing to identify is this is the existing conditions looking through the gateway. The open grass lawn space is the location of the proposed Hmong Plaza.
Cái có thể đại đa này cái trong này mà ta xin cái này một chỗ bên mà trong này đó cái ta xin cái này bỏ từ trong này một con đó thì cái này sai bị cái một con nhỏ mình chỉ cái bây giờ thì bây giờ sẽ có anh này cái trong này thì bây giờ sẽ có anh này cái thì ở đâu có Hmong Plaza đó.
And this is the reveal of the Hmong Plaza itself. One thing I do want to point out is the subcommittee and the design advisory committee contemplated many features that are significant to the Hmong community, including the Hmong pounder, the grinder, the headdress, the house, the phoenix, and the butterfly. But what rose to the top was the instrument, the keng, and the necklace itself.
Kia tên sai để đôi ta nói con này có biết trong này tập biết sao và thì sự sao hay đó nên mà biết sao chân to ya không xây trong này chỉ chuyện cái thứ sinh được biết cái này mong thì sự biết chỉ chỉ sự được có trong này mà biết cái chữ gì nên to thì sự biết mất trâu cái thằng to chỉ to cái có chuyện kiến chấp lại mà biết sao chân trong này biết sao chân lú trẻ mong trong này từ lú rõm play từ bom bài trong này từ nông là từ xôi ya là cái chữ gì to thôi thì sự biết chỉ sự được trong này thì có biết ô đồ ở lúc kinh từ lú sầu nhau hòn đá cái có cái ya có thể biết chỉ sự to cho để biết sai có cái đồ Hmong Plaza.
If you look at the top image, looking at the plan view, it's got a large plaza that can hold multiple events. It's a multi-use plaza, and it has a green lawn, grass, open space for overflow of larger events.
Cái giờ tới bỏ mà trong này đại đôi cái trong hàm như thà cho lúc Plaza mà bên cả là mua được bé ở lúc Plaza mà những lo hình trong này tới ở chỗ nên chúng giờ tới sao ở event sao ở chỉ cùng nó mà là trong này cả chỗ thế rồi giờ tới sao được Palo cái này bỏ cái nhỏ cái bé mua họ ăn được cái trong này tới giờ nên chúng cha là nên sao ở chỉ là mua cho trong rộn gì là những mua chơi thế đâu cả chỗ cho tụi mình.
The wall in the background has several functions. One that it functions to retain soil, and also it will hold a future Hmong migration story. This has not been designed yet, but what is shown are mountain features in the background with wavy top wall that resembles foothills, and then there are also mountains that these could either be made out of a stucco material or painted, or made out of a granite stone.
Cái họ tại cũng một nên sao mà nên bỏ lúc pan ra mà ta xin nói trong này mà bé có sự xã có chữ gì đó, dù lúc pan ra đó ở lúc kinh theo lúc xấu xứ thì gì, lần đây mà bé trở thành chữ gì gì thế sẽ bé ở xã khai trong này thì số bé ở lúc mong ra nên trong này từ lúc pan ra thì gì bé trở đầu xã sẽ bé chỉ có một chữ gì, thì gì nên bỏ mà trong này mà lúc pan ra thì bé work ở trong này thì trong này trong ta hạ trong này bé cái nên mong bé nhớ có từ, giờ có cái chuyện kinh rất sự sinh kiểu trong này từ lúc pan ra thì có thì gì, lần đây thì lúc một chữ gì là bé sự xã chỉ là bây giờ muốn gì thì ta nói cái có lúc pan ra thì bây ta ta xã bây giờ.
The center of the plaza will have an embroidery pattern, and surrounding that is the triangle pattern around the edge, which is typically found on Hmong embroidery. And so these are features that are supposed to allow Minnesota Hmong of all ages to understand that this is a Hmong Plaza, and they do feel welcome here.
Vậy có chuyện kia mà rồi tại đó lúc Plaza ya tại nên bỏ sai mà bây giờ tôi chỉ xem mà thì giờ sẽ là bây giờ chỉ ở xí mà là bây giờ chỉ cả là tính đua sẽ thì giờ nên bỏ trong này tại mỗi tuần sư phát cái tới cái khó nhớ có tất cả cái trong này tại trong này mong ban đầu cái có chuyện kia mà trong này là chỉ cái lỗ tua trong này cái bé cái mình có cái túi thì sai tua nặng đây là trong này là tôi sao mà này bỏ thì cái chơi này bé cái chơi đó bé cái này mong là cái tôi sao sẽ là chỉ chỉ bỏ hay là mong chỉ bỏ từ là mong là cái tôi sao là yêu bỏ cái ban đầu cái là những bỏ thì những bé cái này mong bé lui cái mong Plaza.
And another feature to point out is the plaza itself is raised. You can see 2 or 3 stairs at the entry, and so this creates a hierarchy from the walkway itself, and it has more prominence as people are walking up onto the plaza.
一看字的故事还有你们要等你把头那了早给到了蒙 plaza 嘛，被摸扎有些名字个，你给你all 了被动带，เขาก็整给那被的เขาจงเลยถึงก็ยังคนได้มาก็ต้องมัน早给ก็ต้องบอกแกก็蒙 plaza แกยอดแต่ลูก plaza จงเลยแก
I'll point out a few dimensions. This view is, if you imagine looking 15 feet above down into the plaza. The necklace and pendant itself, this is 15 feet tall. The instrument is around 11, and the wall itself along the mountains is 8 feet 6 inches.
佢ไปเขาอยากกูจะเปลี่ยนเนี่ยสิเราเขาใช้เดี๋ยวดูมันจงลินจีไม่ได้สิเขาจำมันจงเลยให้มาอยากก็สาจะลูกเก่งมาแต่เมื่อกูอีฟิเชียอยากถาจะจงเลยให้แต่ลูกสมมาอยากกูจีฟิเชียเกี่ยวลูกพันใจยังลีอีฟิเกี่ยวกับแต่ฉันมันจงเลยใช้เดี๋ยวดูจีไม่ได้สิเขาจำมาจงใครเขาเดแมนจิแล้วเนี่ยยิ่งอยู่ล่อเห็น
And here are a few materials. This is the existing Hmong heritage wall that is behind the pavilion itself. So this wall is made out of concrete with a stucco finish. And this is a granite where the future Hmong migration story could be carved out of.
佢有啲呢ใช้แต่ฉันnói佢ลูกพันจะแต่แต่ย้อนไปแต่ฉันมาจงเลยสีจงแกสีมาอ้วแล้วเมื่อสีแกสีมาแล้วเมื่อปัวจงเลยแต่แล้วเมื่อชาเรามีการมาจ่อรูจงเลยแล้วเมื่อสีแกสตั๊กโกนั่นแต่ยาแต่นี่ปอดไอ้ด้วยแกจงเลยแต่เลยสีแกแกรนแต่สีนั่นแต่ยาแต่ไปสาโชจงเลยแกมงจงเลยแต่ไปขอสาโชแกลุนซีแล้วสาโชจริงๆแกไปมาสีจงเลยขอได้ด้วยแต่ก็จะขอแกรนแต่ก็มง
The plaza surface will be made out of concrete. It could be a colored concrete with a pattern, a pattern in the center of it. This could be made out of stain, or it could be sandblast, but it'll have a finish that is identifiable and that'll last for the lifetime of the plaza itself.
งั้นแต่รู้มง plaza งั้นแต่จงให้แต่ปอหามาเป็นเลยยิ่ง有สีสมาปนโอเคที่สี头สีสมาปอใช่เลย有สีแล้วไปใส่ใช่เลยไป有了也สีแล้วใช่เลย有จงเลยเขาแต่ใช้การสีมาจงเลยแต่是ที่สีเป็นมัวจีที่ใช่จงเลยแต่เป็นสาติ้งได้ด้วยหัวอาเกียแล้วใช่เลยสาสีจงเลยแต่有มัวแซมแบลสเขาก็เกี่ยวจงเลย有กาเกี่ยวจงเลยกับลูก plaza มุตาสีนึงนะโอเค
The bottom images are showing the inspiration for the necklace, the pendant, and also the instrument. And so we are looking at using stainless steel, and these are showing a variety of colors. But this gives you an idea of what it might look like. I will say that during fabrication, items could change based upon the materials, the cost, and the ability to fabricate a necklace.
กินได้ด้วยจะกูมั่วเราเนี่ยใช้มาจงเลยฮะแต่ไปต่อแต่เป็นเชื่อตะกอหัวเพียบไปใช้โดยจะด้วยใช้ไปสักรู้โซ่จงเลยจ่าถูกไปอยู่ว่ารู้โซ่เด้อกินจงเลยฮะมาเต้จะอยู่ปอว่าแต่ฉันเอาไปจะถ่ายจะจงเลยฮะแต่ขอ注意是的是จะตัวยอกันสิแต่ไปแต่จะเนี่ยตัวไปแต่สิถ่ายแต่ยังมั่วปอเลยจ่าแต่จงนั้นได้ใช้กินเนี่ยเจียมดมเลยจ่าแล้วมั่วปูเราไปใช้ปัจจุบันใช้ไปเอาตัวเลยจ่ากี่จมหายแล้วเขาก็แต่ไปแต่เชื่อตะกอ注意ใช้ลูกก็รู้โซ่จงเลยจ่าเท่าถ้าจะจงเลยเอาลูกเก่งแต่ไปอยู่ว่ากี่就个一个是被着知道被着知道sai sử dụng này thì chỉ sẽ bị有也是你家的是个一个是的就被有是你是all looking 咁樣用係特別係是老話個用嚟個家務一起用嚟的路蒙 plaza 嘅個有 all looking 嘅邊是老話的是的就應有保能的被着知道保的是可能要用嚟個注意被到他先知道那些
So we intend to build these as authentic as we can, the necklace and the instrument, but to reiterate that fabrication methods will be determined in the design and fabrication phase with the artist.
嘅比如係可能你個呢波的需要用嚟講能第時的是邊個就知道幫我 OK， 但係都是他是樣的都用嚟係都 artist 都我個影樣的都用嚟都有我的啲嘅同的俾嘛波是俾有時路。This is a
view of the Hmong Plaza. If you're standing just on the other side of the gateway, looking northwest towards the future plaza. What you'll see is the wall in the background surrounded by low flowering fruit trees. And you'll also notice the existing Hmong art stones. These are temporarily in a location. We will remove them for construction and put them back in the same order and same location.
giờ này bỏ trong này cũng có đôi này sai sẽ lưu mong plaza nhỏ có từ cái trong này từ nhỏ từ sa northwest entrance từ lúc ba đây nó ok giờ từ này bỏ cái trong từ thổ này là cái này bỏ lúc punja trong này từ lúc mong plaza lúc punja từ từ bên thế tại sao màยิ่งมัวเอาไปรูปปั้นใช้มองไปแต่เป็นมัวจอนแต่เอาที่สิทธิ์ไปปี construction ที่ไปปีโรงแรมแต่เป็นเลยปีวัวเกเลยว่าจะปั้นใช้จ๋าถเลยว่าตายกันแล้วมันจะก้าวมอรูปปั้นใช้แล้วจะก้าวจอนแต่ก็เชื่อเนี่ยจะรูปปั้นจ้าแต่นี่บอกแต่ไปอยู่จะเอาไปจอนตรงโรงแรมแต่ก็มัวป้ามัวจีก็จอนก็ยันแต่รูปปั้นจ้าเถอะ
Another thing to notice is the grass overflow space with the retaining wall shaped in the elephant's foot, and it's terraced with grass to resemble rice paddies.
Cái trong này hay mà thế tất cả mà cái sạc cái bỏ thế mua nhỏ thế họ có chuyển kinh cái con nhỏ thì có mà trong này thế bên mua lúc pan mình chỉ cần game mình chỉ là mua khu lúc chain and walk cái trong này thì giờ lò na là có cho na thế bóng tàu mù thế cái trong này hay mà có bỏ bên mua có terrace trong này cái trong chấm mong play thôi thế chấm play nữa thôi là one đó.
This is another view. This is within the overflow space and the grass lawn, looking to the east towards the pavilion. You'll notice the pavilion is there's planting and it's screened in between the two, and you'll notice the raised stair to create that hierarchy between the path and the plaza.
Cái con nói cái này đôi gì cái cũng muốn nói sai sự cái con nói này đôi trong này thì có nhắn được con nhỏ cái sai nữa nó có pavilion tới đi chỉ biết cái trong này thì nên bỏ lúc pavilion rồi thì nhớ được tại sao là cái con nói cho đó nó bỏ xíu cái sai nữa đây cái trong này bắt đầu có biết đó này cái những món liền ở bên tụi đại để bên chúng cái cho cái nó khó plaza tới nó ok.
In terms of phasing, we want to be upfront and say the priorities for the project are to build the plaza itself and the back wall in the first phase. If there's funding available, we would then construct the necklace and the instrument features.
Bên hai hai nhà caro này mà có trình kiến shop rồi trong này thì nhớ được có nhiệt sẽ là mua đồ bé mà giờ có tí ít ở cái plaza ở đây cho ở cái plaza ở con đại nữa thế ở lúc pan ra giờ thì cái nhiệt sẽ chỗ cái trong này hai mà tất cả cái bé màแต่ออลูกเก่งเนาะโอเคกี่สหคาร์เนี่ยป้อมกับเจงเก่งชอบเลยกับไปอวดตัวกับเจ้าอวลูพลาซาแต่อวลูพันจาวแต่เช็คกี่เจียโซลิกาเกี่ยตะก้าเกี่ยตรงไหนแต่ไปมาม้วนจีอวดจี
One thing to point out is this has been a very highly thought through design and site plan. I want to point out the views. We've been very intentional about how people enter the garden itself. So we're looking at how the plant material used to frame the views to the plaza itself.
也古啥看到那嘛边啥做的边工地中来的只要搞的边啥做边我是的是边实施工地啥做是的谁边有马路 plaza 这个对个哎个中差的边有时头中来顶天多了谁老了怕死了头都做马路 plaza 里家给个一个的边啥做的边工地老了中来的เขาอ่านนะมีเขาจงเขาเชื่อจงชอบเลยแต่เปี้ยวมกกับพลาซาจอ
This image is showing potential layouts. So we talk about the flexibility. This rectangle in blue is showing 124 seats if the performance is happening facing the wall. If you have a larger wedding or another function, there are an additional 96 seats that could be put in the overflow space for a total of 220. So this was a very important priority by the community to have a larger flexible space.
Thế này đôi hiện nay sai mà rồi lại có ý nhắn được cho basic thôi basic tôi xin chỉ tôi xin thảm mà lại được chuyển kinh rồi để có chơi đá cái chỗ nên chống khi cái này bỏ cái này có plaza mà giờ để cho mà ý một cái chỗ tôi ít buồn nên có blow bao từ nên trong này ít buồn nên có bao lúc trâu nào ok cái nhóm là Phalen là con nhỏ trong này thì có cái chữ dấu thì con nhỏ ta biết thế sao thì có câu cái đá cái dấu thế có lo chắc có thế thế cái có cái món gì nên có thao gì cho cái gì kiểu trâu lúc trông gì là tô thế cái trong này thì trâu rồi ốp bên đây có tụi nên là rồi tô là nhỏ tô là có Plaza này có thế nhỏ là ít sao là con nhỏ.
While the preferred layout would be facing the wall, there is an alternate layout where a stage could be placed on the east side and everyone else could be facing, and we'd switch the access east and west.
cái họ từ trong qua thì khó làm mà trong này hay chỉ có chỉ sự biết cho chỉ đầu tư chỉ sẽ có lên tới đi xưa thì bên một trò sáng nữa có trong này có cái có lúc pan ra cái này mà sai cái trong bạc cá đi xưa họ có chỉ ở lại sao thì chỉ trong cái tên số bên một bộ thế bên một bộ bên chỉ có đôi lúc stage nhỏ là sai east side cái tên số ya thì họ có chỉ thì ít chỉ ở lại là bên một bộ thế bên một lúc stage trong the east side là sai east side thế.
And so the next steps, I want to discuss the process going forward. So we are at the public engagement. We've already gone through the design advisory committee engagement. After this, we will move into construction documents and bidding this spring.
Cái cú cho cái này ta nói cho cái đó nụ nó mà trong này từ lúc lì và thi xa cái bên tôi xin chỉ có public engagement from Hmong feature cái trong này ta có bây giờ bây sinh tua bây giờ này gì có bây giờ tua tôi sẽ thả do đâu nụ nó châu lo mà trong này đầu lúc cổ lì từ lúc cổ lì mà trong này hay bây giờ có design advisory rồi bây giờ tôi sẽ thả cho cái đó đầu bây giờ mua bây có gì nên đây là cái nên đây cái bây mà trong này xin chỉ gì hay thả cho họ sẽ bây giờ chỉ nên đây thế.
And while we're bidding the Hmong Plaza, we will advance the other phase 2 features that I'll show here shortly. Another item to remember is we have a funding deadline that we need to complete the design of the Hmong Plaza and the phase 2 features by June.
Cái này đây trong này hai đôi lúc có lì đầu lúc ít lì mà ta nói mà trong này bây giờ tổ bây cái bên trong này tại bên chế cái nên trong này hai tại sẽ là tổ sai sẽ là ô tô chỉ tống nhiên một lý cả thì sẽ có thể cố sa hai đó nên trên cái mình cái này sáng giờ tại lúc trâu lì lúc trong áp hành của bên mình trong này hai mà có funding deadline trong này tại đó cái nên trong này tại sao ba nhiêu sẽ ba ôm đồ bên lúc Hmong Plaza bên một tháng nhiêu là trong này ba hai gọi là ba đồ cái bên lúc Plaza lúc trâu lì và lúc trong nên của bên có trong này có sẽ ta là nó ok.
Another item to point out is the Minnesota-China Friendship Garden Society is beginning a Building Bridges campaign this year. And so these are to support the other phase 2 gardens, including the Hmong Plaza, including the Moon Bridge, Moon Gate that I'll go through here and show you some images shortly.
Thế có thể của xã hội đó nên mình chắc cả từ trong này từ bên con Minnesota China Friendship Garden Society ta nói là ta tổ ấy có họp phía trong này có campaign thà từ trong này ta có trong này từ bên cái bên mong tới số là ở bao nhiêu là công ty ok cái có cái bên một thói nhiên gì bên một campaign nhiên gì cái tô cái bên ô tô tự cho chỉ thà từ trong này lúc mong Plaza xưa là cái bên một ô tô có Moon Gate entrance đâu trong này từ Chinese Moon trong này tự cho từ là sao ô thế có cái đi sát cho sự mình chỉ sự.
So a future phase that will be designed but not constructed is the mountain stream. This is just south of the pavilion with a bridge that water can flow underneath to the channel itself.
Cái trong này tại thả cho trong này có chỉ tại là sao ô thế nhớ cái này lúc pavilion tại nhớ được là tí trong này tại là sao ô tôi cho thế là sao trong này tại ô tôi cho tại cái trong cái demo họ cá nên tôi cho này có trong này tại nó có thả cho sự sản xuất tí là chỉ tôi
This is an image of a future chess table to the east of the pavilion.
Cái này đối trong này tại lúc chess table nhớ là sao east side là lúc pavilion.
And this is an image of the future moon gate that is along the east entry of the site near the lake, and it is showing a framing view of the moon bridge.
Cái con này có trong này tận đây tại bên chỗ sao ô thế trong này tại mua lúc pan ra là lúc có trong là mua sao lúc moon gate kia tại một số cái trong tại cái bỏ đồ từ cho thế cái đây là coi cái nhóm là sao east là lúc ba đây nó ok.
And this is an image of the moon bridge that's crossing the channel.
cái này đó này cái trong này bây mua đồ này bỏ từ cho trong này từ moon bridge nhỏ này bà đây này có.
And finally, the image of the donor wall, and you'll see the Hmong Plaza in the background. The donor wall is on the west side near the gateway.
Cái con là có phía thì bây mua đồ này sai cái trong này mà hiện nay bỏ bé cái bỏ đi bỏ lông bông plaza thì chỉ còn nói có thể bây sáng môn gì thì trong lúc pan ra mua chấm bê thì trong này tự thứ sinh ba nghe chế độ bê cái trong này là mua hồ lô donor wall thì có nhóm là sa west side là lúc bông plaza nó ok.
So the purpose of designing these other phase 2 features is so we can have a cohesive garden that will relate to the Hmong Plaza. So we have a lot of the same materials and truly have that the consistency and promoting friendship.
Tao tại bây giờ thà cho trong này họ tại bây giờ hợp hiện đến đây sự cái này bố trong này mà cho tại bây giờ sĩ cái xí mà ở đi nhà bây giờ có lúc mong plaza tới trong này có Chinese fashion garden cái trong này sĩ ở sĩ做cái trong đi nhà tới sĩ có cái gì chỉ kinh trong này có tại bây giờ thà có đây tại bây giờ cho nó có phase 2đến đây nó ok.
So thank you everyone for your dedication. My contact information is up here. This is an exciting point for the project. This is a great milestone. Thank you for everyone's dedication and your time today, and I look forward to building this later this summer.
Cái cũng sao ở trong này sợ cái này tôi thấy này chỉ là này có sẽ tôi xin chỉ tôi đó bây thả thế này chỉ sự sinh thế trong này hay tôi cột tay ba bây ở cái project đó giờ này support ở trong này tôi có information tôi có email nhớ số thế giờ thế này sao mua chỉ gì nu là mua cho luôn nu là sao đó cũng thả thế gì có chuyện kiến chấp bây giờ mà ở trong này sợ tôi cột tay ba bây tôi ở tôi có một cái hợp hiện cái trong này sự sinh là bây cái này mong nó.
I'll be available to answer any questions after this too. We are going to move a lot of this information out to the shopping center, so feel free to reach out to any of us after this.
Okay. Cái xin chữ ta nó sẽ kiểu trong cái thế này mua chả lú nô là này sao đặc của thảo là này là đặc của thảo thôi thế. Bây xin chữ ta là bây giờ trời mua bây lúc cứ bây trong này tiền cái bây giờ bây cái đua bây giờ cái mong sa nốt chữ thảo thế mình gì.
So, thank you. Spring, so May through June, and the deadline where substantial completion needs to be completed at the end of June.
Okay. Cái ta xin mà sao hai cái này mà lu ở lì lu bé lì mà ta xin bé ta tự giải bé cái bé ở sẽ lên từ ý là từ là ở Mong Plaza cái nhóm de bé có hợp hiện trong bé sinh nhật bé sao tới rồi có cha lu chỉ lì biểu bí cái không trong này ta condo chỉ trực tao để lu trâu lì nào ok.
Any other questions?
She put more lununzi, but more link to more questions.
If I could just follow up on that, the China Garden Society and the city are planning a big event in September, and we're hoping that the Hmong Plaza will be, we'll have a ceremony there, we'll have some performances there, so we're...
No pressure. Just
No pressure. Yeah, that's our dream.
Cái lên đây họ sản gì ở bao luôn gì cái trong này là hai mà nhóm để khó trong này the Chinese garden để mà trong này là mỗi khó trong này event là yêu lưu chung đến đây nào ok cái nhóm để biết sinh nhật mà biết sao cái lúc Mong Plaza cái biết ở cái ta on đây khó event lưu chung thì thế gì trong này mà chỉ bảo sẽ ta thế gì cho hai ở bao luôn cái gì giờ để ô tô on đây cái ta lưu chung thì có mà những trong hành động biết những trong xe.
Right, could you talk again about the planning for the phase 2 portions of the other features?
Yes, so the question was, can you talk more about the planning for the phase 2 features outside of the Hmong Plaza?
Right.
Cái khó tại cú sáng nó cái trong này hai tại nếu có chỉ trong này chỉ thả ra lúc Hmong Plaza sau tới chỉ thôi nếu lúc Hmong Plaza ta tất cả những cái này có hợp là trong này tại ní sản gì á chỉ ní chỉ sao ở trên gì thôi nếu lúc Hmong Plaza ta chỉ có biết bắt đầu mình chỉ cho họ có bread.
The priority is to complete the Hmong Plaza design and go into bidding. While we are bidding, we are going to advance a lot of those phase 2 features where you could consider it to construction document level, so we have an idea of the extents of the project and then we can get a cost estimate.
เขาจริงๆแต่ฉันเอาแต่เขาซื้อเซ็งมาจงเลยแต่ก็ไปโอลิมปิกพลาซ่าตาได้จอโอเคไปโอลิมปิกพลาซ่าตาจอเกี่ยวจงเลยไปมาสื่อสารใช้ไปเกี่ยงเจียแต่ก็ใช้ไปจะโชว์เสียงเลยจ้าตอนเด็กเกี่ยวจงเลยไปมาปีกับ phase 2จงเลยถ้าจะโอตัวเข้าโอเขาป้าได้แต่ใช้ไป要经济的是เขาจริงๆมาไปเขามองพลาซ่าตาเกี่ยวแต่ก็ซื้อเซ็งเกี่ยวไปมาสาจะใช้แต่ก็ไปสาม经济ไปมาถ่ายได้ไปมาชิ้นจีสักก็
And to be more specific, I'll say that the design work will happen probably from February, and it will need to end in June with that deadline.
เกี่ยวกับกุศลจีมินจีจงเลยแต่เขาแต่ก็จงเขา phase 2เนี่ยไปถ่ายจะมาจงเลยแต่จุดปีเรารู้ออลีนั่นได้เรารู้โจลีนโอเคอย่าไปเขาใจไหลยิ่งอย่ารู้โจลีนแต่ยิ่งจะเขาชิก็เกี่ยวจงเลยแต่ถ้าไปวัวรู้มองพลาสตาเกี่ยวไปยิ่งจะ有ถ่ายมินจีคือจีนจีใช้จงเลยแต่องค์ได้รู้โจลีเขาใจไหลแต่ก็ใช้ไป有มอจินจีแล้วไป有มอจิโทแต่ไปมาชิปปองแต่เขาก็มู
And then when would be the intent to implement those? And is there still opportunity for ongoing input in the design of that next phase?
Yeah, the question is when would we implement those other phase 2 features, and is there an opportunity for community engagement?
เกี่ยวกับกุศลนู่นมาจงเลยแต่องค์ได้เนี่ยว่าเขาก็อยากแต่เนี่ยสัตว์ก็ให้เปียกเขาปตาเขาเชื่อมบริการจงเลยแต่เนี่ยอยู่ปีเขา phase 2เนี่ยก็ที่ใช้ปัจจุบันเชื่อเราไปแก่ไปสิ่งจงเลยแต่ตัวจอเนี่ยถ้าเราคือจีนจีชื่อเนี่ยประมวลเขาเชื่อหันจีนก็
There's currently no funding to complete or I guess install a lot of the phase 2, but we are currently designing and we will go back to the design advisory committee. And then we anticipate another community engagement process to look at those other phase 2 designs.
但是呢，嘛还要看嘛，中来还得被这知道么嘢之后，被知道中来得被这知道么个翻的了，个嘢中来八被中来还得我个 phase 2被这知道，这个的是被这科技中来还得谁被这被叫中来个 design advisory board，肯定中来还得么个指引的，然后谁被科技人家中来还得个我都年纪了，谁要得被我个么 plus 但谁被不么个嘢子，只我个 phase 2了，么个叫空个人子的。
Yeah, Linda.
You talked about on the Hmong Plaza, there's going to be some of the features, the necklace and the gang that will come later subject to funding. And so that funding is going to be coming from the community and hopefully some other sources. But do you have any estimate of what kind of dollar amounts we might be looking for to raise for those other features? That's a good question. So the question is, do we know how much it's going to cost for the future instrument and necklace features?
เขาแต่กุศลนู่นมาปตากวิ่งปอแต่ก็ถ่ายจงเลยถ่ายจะลุ่มห้องพลาจะทะลุพันจ่าที่สิอย่างนี้ก็ถ่ายจะมาก็เนี่ยเจ้าจงเลยใช้ก็ปอแต่ยาตายเนี่ยปเจอก็ไปจงเลยแต่ไปอดจอตัวอลูกเก่งที่จงเลยแต่รู้สองคนได้ที่ก็ปอชื่อยาตายปเจอเนี่ย
And I would say without completing a design, Linda, at this point, these are significant features that are done by professional artists. So these are something that's probably $100,000 to $200,000.
也个他在中嘞，但阿鲁跟他中嘞，路手势嘛，中嘞古还嘛，今年我演中嘞叫 artist 嘛，了就 design on day 了就是 sound day 的是，伊要找哩一波了阿波跑。
Would that be just the material, or is that the installation also? When you say 100,000 to it?
The question is that just the materials or installation? And it is both.
几个啥的，个还得得嘛，要一波跑了二波跑，那么就要好用来的了。我是用来叫 material 是了，用来的都能叫人多开始给他得还得，因เขาก็要二块，给เขา他是เขา用来个一波跑了二波跑，那么因要得个了多我给的，个了么路跟的路少人多看的路判断的个。
So we hope that the Hmong community will really be interested in these features and want to get them built sooner rather than later. So I hope that the China Garden Society can work with the Hmong community to make that happen.
几个最基本上的故事嘛，已经啥的都是个比较被成比较内蒙，个比出生的比参加个 project 的那 OK， 个比说的是八种是讲了种来这个我和 fundraiser 了，前一次我因啥的最近都比个比种的我都阿鲁跟的种来的我都冇路手抓个沙里晒刀嘅，个你必须讲对的个 China Friendship Garden， 个比我都比的我的沙里晒刀。
All right, thank you, everyone.
我叫了你啊。
个那古呀汤英梦成后，古呀都前面那都好梦 advisory committee， 即比如梦 advisory committee 那呀，我做路China Friendship Garden Society Association， 即可能呀路 project 那呀 China Friendship Garden。ที่ยาอีลูโปรเจกต์ตรงเดลูซีดีเซงพอให้ลูซีดีช่างชาญชวดเตนะอาลูซิสเตอร์ซีดีโปรเจกต์นะที่นู่นก็เป็นตัวนอนะที่ยาฮูลูไชน่าเฟรนชิพการ์เดนฮามาลูซีดีเซงพอตัวมอีข้าอ่างปูตัวเปจะมองจะลูโอเปปวเพ่งจอดเปเต็งตุจอดเปปวเพ่งนะที่ก็นู่นนู่ก็ไปหลุดทางตัวเขาแต่มองเขาต่อลูกเขาเชิญตัวมาเป็นมดีอมเป็นมองแต่มองเขาต่อแต่สิลัวอเมริกาที่เป็นแต่มองปลาซาโนเจนู่นอย่าไปหลุดทางตัวเขาคือไปตู้รัวเตาไปตู้แต้มเตาละแต่ไปเจ้าตัวขาโดนน่ะที่คือที่ในจำมองชุดเลยคือจะนู่นอยู่ตัวนะเอกชุดเลยต้องมาจุยจีฮัตาไปตู้แต้มเตารัวเตาละแต่สิชุดเลยนี่จะน่าจะจีนี่จะมองชุดเลยนี่ชุดเลยเขามาจุยจีเลยจังโตนั่นนะเจลูเมกาฮัตยานู่นอย่านู่ก็มองพลาซ่า open house ตัวลูก community engagement นั่นนะเจจอดใจตัวชุดเลยตัวปูอย่างตัวจงแล้วตัวขาตัวไปจะมองคุณสิเจไปลูกชงก็อัพพันธุ์ก็ไปนอเดเจไปโอก็ลูกหอตาเจไปตัวเนี่ยตัวจ้าตัวสิเลยเจไปโอก็ลูกหอตาเนเจลูก project นั่นเจอย่ามัวลูกกองหัวMinnesota China Friendship Garden Society เจลูกน้อยลูกลุนทันเนี่ยที่เขามุ่ง City St. Paul Park and Recreation Department ฮันเดอย่าลูกจูลูกน้อยนั่นนะเจลูกน้อยCity ก็ St. Paul Park and Recreation ฮะลูกกองหัวMinnesota China Friendship Garden Society ฮะลูกตัวจะชัว advisory อาจจะมอง advisory เป็นตัวจะต้นทัวคาน่าจะคือที่หนึ่งจังชุดเลยเป้าที่ชุดเลยเป้าน่าจะเป็นโยก็ชุดเลยใช้แต่เป็นตัวอดเตาเลยฮะเลยเนี่ยอย่างตัวอยู่มั่วใช้เชยเลยจังยกคูเลยจังน่าจะก็ชุดเลยตัวปังเป็นคูนะสักก็เขามองพลาซ่าเนาะจีนู่นอยแต่เป็นตัวลูลูจอนที่ที่นี่จะมองเนี่ยหูมินนิโซตาเนาะแล้วยาหูเซนต์พอลมินนิอาโพลิสเนาะชุดเลยตัวใช้ตาชุดเลยปวดแต่เขาไปตัวดัวเตาเลยจะแต้มเตาเลยจะอวดเตาตัวหุ่นเลยบลูพริ้งเขาเลยนะอย่าโยนเลยหาจงแล้วเนาะจีปีใช้ละดูโคตาชิเนเจนดูนาตีอ่างที่ขอให้มมุสโนนะมมุดเราที่ไปเข้าจุดอ่างแต่สิมันดูโคกันเลยรู้จิลีอยู่ปีรู้เจ้าลีมองนั่นนะที่ไปดูเนี่ยจ่าที่ไปดูยิ่งมั่วละที่ไปจีต้องการสุดเลยปังคันจีฮะแต่สิปีตัวเนี่ยดาวละไปตัวเลยก็1,000,000หอเลยที่ไปจะลงมองโอ้ขนมอันเดียนั่นจีเนี่ยหูก็ขนมนั่นจีปีมันมองรูปเป่าดูตัวหาที่ปีมันมองอัดตั้งเก่งที่ปีจะรู้เจาะเลยเนาะฮะนั่นนะจีหูรูปลานเจแล้วรูฟลัวนะหูนั่นจีปีเจ้ามองอีลูปังดาวลูตัวหูก็จะเน่งก็จิตเจ้าหญิงดาวอเมริกาเนี่ยลูได้เชื่อพอตัวจูเราพอจิตทางหญิงดาวเลยพอใช้จอดเก่งลูกเป่าพอใช้ มองจะปั้นเต้ากันเนี่ยหูซื้อเจ็บปุ๊บปุ๊บแต่ยังมองเลยละจะขอโนอยู่เนี่ยโอเก่งกูตัวเป็นมองอเมริกาหาตัวมองกันดูโนตันทอจีฮะเป็นตัวมองอเมริกาซะเป็นตัวมองกันดูตันทอตัวเขาแต่เป็นยาลุติเฉิดดูละเป็นจ่อเป็นตัวจางตัวลุติเฉิดแต่เป็นดูรถสีคูลุติเฉิดแต่เป็นยคูเป็นมองเป็นซับปูกับเป็นมองติงตัวป้องฮะเราจะขอโนอยากขอรู้หอบผ้าคือเป็นโอตัวหูเนอจะเป็นจะมองยาวรู้สิริเสียงพอรุ่นจงเสียงพอเราจะจ้องเห็นจะถ้าเป็นยังจะมองคือรู้เป็นชัวรู้เราจะเป็นจุดเล็กจะเป็นยังพออีฝังหันเดรู้จะเป็นเสียงชัวเป็นอุลุฮะเราจะเป็นสังกัดต่อตัวหูรู้สิริสามโมก็อ่านเราตัวเปียหอยยิ่งมันต่อให้ในก็เนี่ยเลยบลาไทยเราหมดตัวลุให้ในเนาะป้องกันจิตต่อตัวขารู้โปรเจกต์รู้ขนาดนั้นก็有真的呢，有真的主要的叫人家找被我冇你讲的被我个打就好多路上盘能够变暖，这边要好来。nhớ hủ lúa họ mà tôi chỉ tặng cho ta mong lúa bò ha mong cho canh ha mong cho ban đào sư đó là bây giờ chúa ít lại cái kiến cứu mong thọ nè bớt số tổ cho lúa đó để chờ nhà lang để chờ là chúa để chờ Thái tổ chúa để chờ America để chờ Hoa Kỳ Australia cả đủ khu nó tặng thọ nè thì bây giờ nó cho lâu thẳng cho họ ta被路还对路说路，但是被路来讲只么就包，他主要拿下是只么一靠根据，来也不拼一下对，叫路做比较能够他晒，别靠比较多叫几档的，那有只包或者被路对路了，那就要领导别怎么别靠根据。cái thọ nè cái chỉ để cho chờ thông cảm đủ nó lù lên chẳng mong lên chẳng lù chủ tạng xin nó này bị nhỏ lên chẳng còn đời giờ họ bị muốn ruột lại họ bị hùa mong migration war nữa chỉ là họ lù bị ruột cả lù thì bị tem cho cái drawing cho hay là lù họ từ chính từ lù họ từ lù họ từ thì tạo một khát từ ô cả chun cho bên nhau cho mình cả tên nó. Cái khó cái hạt châu cáiตาลูกเขาเชื่อวันเดอก็สุดเลยกูปวดแต่หมดตัวปวดหมดอย่างปวดลินดาวแต่是只要看到时候你一摸能到看哈这个中梦出来什么想都看到为啥的看到有一个个有没晒到成对了你估没全忙但是嘛并没晒下的或者刚都去那应用了哈ที่ขากันยังเลยที่เชื่อยังล่างที่เชื่อเราจัวเราที่ขาตุจีมั่วจัวเลยล่ะตุจีลูสโนเลยล่ะลูเล่าเลยล่ะจะเลยลูเลยนะที่แรกที่เราหัวจัวหลงไอ้ชายจงหาสุดสุดสัก3จุดขาแต่อย่าดูอดเป็นนะจีจานะก็กูขาโนอยากขาก็ทางจุดขาก็หัวจัวเล่นแต่แต่สิกูตัดต้ก็ขันแต่กูมั่วขานหาตัวขาก็ตีตัวเล็กก็ลูกันนูแต่เสียขาก็ตู้ก็สารนูกูเตกูตัดเต้าละก็ลูปลาเต้นนะมั่วอิจฉาไปจะมองนะที่สุดเลยสาหัตาก็อย่ามองจิหุเซงเลยอย่าจะมองอยู่ก็อยู่ใช้ตัวกูใช้ตัวก็สุดเลยหาลูบ่บ่นอนนะสุดเลยเลยโน้ตสิมาตัวกูตุเข่งหาตัวเป็นรูปโปรเจกต์ก็หาโน้ตจะเป็นสร้างเลยโน้นนะ 头的人完美多，的说了么注意到的年三十年路注意我的年三，的头个说了三就注意是走多那的个说了么路是讲么路是下，但是看到要有完美所以我找着做梦说了个通不了干都去了呢，也说了个。到时候都么伢哈伢本事呢，为他说的政界里的个啥的个好呀个好呀的，说的怎么路是讲是哈，但是嘛好少的路西里生跑了呢，也不应包括的，别莫古有莫下个弟弟呢，别莫莫来莫来，干度nội gì莫来莫来波。都只得走路了，也路中生跑，那还叫个路 project 那说的叫那只要梦想，叫อเมริกา了还得，还能对了，不能要，一还能，年末年根据，年末年讲年节，年末年路，年末年把便宜呢考车，第二嘞，路网朋友呢。要一考就考叫考车，考说的叫路，考说的叫定度假呢。路个蒙人个必须呢，路把这还得 MOOB， 哈呀路蒙人呢，和路蒙了嘛 HMOOB 啊，的用来说的都拿路了，比么不路把这阿路上的蒙了，阿路上的蒙人，的路西里生跑，路中生跑，讲路住呢，说了人家少了太阳，的说了有好了，的路个 MOOB 的人家中的路把这有梦，我根据梦一次来了，的才到路讲路住这边忙事，但是路讲路住了人家好也压来了，呀，都说也就上的说，都忙就上的忙。ตัวค่าอยู่ช่องตัวค่าเด็กจันเตอร์เด็กจะป้อนยี่ห้อปลิงชาวเลยฮะเนี่ย
ข้อสุดท้ายนั่นเองของมุกปลาซาที่ติดต่อผู้ขัดเชือกก็เลยก็สาเดียนพร้อมเป็นแต่คอนเล่นอยู่ในเป็นโชว์ลอดที่หลอดมันเสนออยู่สีข้อหลอดมุกเดิมคนในตัวเดิมก็เชื่อเป็นการเชื่อมันคือเกตเตอร์ตัวเขาก็ยังคือเชื่อเกย์ตัวเดอะซีรีส์เซนพอเกย์มุกหรือตัวเราแต่ก็เขาหรือตัวเราก็ยังสปอนบริจาคของตัวพวกกัน
可能但是呢，知道杂志，但是嘛，路个 project 了要考求个路网朋友了呢，因杂志了还得有注销，要还得上到อเมริกา那的，苏上到อเมริกา的上到蒙的到上讲，可能要考个对杂志这种路了，他家个家必收，不能收单呀的就把这下。只不出一路嘞，不能要了，那的当地那要得比少好了，比少了哈。个努诺那的，个叫那叫子说了多努诺那的说了干了好强诺那的努诺的要路中生跑路 department 个 port and recreation 哈。有多一个 presentation， 卡住说了，努诺的做卡住好的，忙好当搞事，搞些说这么注意的样子的，落住家落住，搞说了都帮哭呢，路热都哭，有么注意的讲了个，都帮下的，姑娘么当跟走了呢，姑娘么呢，来姑娘这样的做了呢，这样努诺被我看当搞事。
一种的这个的那家我做了那套晒的 video 呢，老早这里呢了，正些到的看到正说所行到，人家录像呢，我做到头录照领导，我那这边嘛都没找到，不了，别讲那就只能一路到挖到这，个那包的个那包，我做那套晒的 video 呢。